So Trump won in the biggest landslide since Ronald Reagan. It's not being reported fully yet on Google and on these other sources, but Donald Trump won this election by a landslide. We're gonna get into what that means in terms of a Trump supporter, a Democrat, somebody in between. As well, I live in Canada. I'm gonna give you my point of view from a Canadian. But you know, with this election, with 2020, not 2016 sort of, um, also too, I'm gonna say this before I continue. That's okay. That is with my blinds closed. Yeah. Um. So I'm gonna try and figure out something to do with that. But anyways, back to the video. Like in 2016, it was a shock to I think everyone, even Trump supporters, when Donald Trump came in, said what he said in those debates, blew the entire Republican convention out of the water. Like, when you go back and you look at any of those 2016 clips from the GOP primary, Donald Trump stood head and shoulders over everybody who was running in 2016. I really think if any of the Republican candidates ran against Hillary in 2016, the Democrats probably would have won, even with how everything with Hillary Clinton, that I'm too scared to get into because I don't want the Clintons after me. But Trump wins that election, he gets into office, and obviously with Trump not being a politician, nobody really knows what kind of presidency he will have, what kind of policies he will put towards. But very quickly, he strengthened the southern border. He turned America's economy into the best it's ever been, right? And from the point of view in Canada, we elected Trudeau a year before the Americans elected Trump, right? And Justin Trudeau is basically the polar opposite. Liberal Party leader. He's all about the social politics, social justice, all about progressivism and that. While Trump came in and was a counter to not only the left, but the establishment as a whole. Him himself being a part of the establishment for decades, knowing how it works. There's that famous clip that Dave Chappelle did a bit on, where Donald Trump, when Hillary Clinton said Trump doesn't pay his taxes, he admitted it right there. He didn't pay his taxes, but then he pointed out, I use the same tax code that you wrote. I use the same benefits in that tax code that your donors use. So if you want me to pay my taxes, change the code. That right there showed the public that this guy is willing to open the door more than the average politician. Now, am I saying that he is a completely open book? No. Trump lies. I feel like, both his supporters and his haters know that. There's signs. everybody was. Dana White was. They're like, dear God, look at what we're dealing with. No, even though the product was still good. But like, this time around, it was like, one, the Joe Rogan podcast changed a lot for this election, right? And I really think it was a shot in the foot that Kamala wasn't even willing to try. But I mean, her handlers wouldn't let her. There's no way Joe Biden would have done it either. But like, beyond the two-party system, beyond the two candidates, like you have to look at it from like culture perspective, right? And I feel like we're in a completely different um, culture than we were, say, around 2019, 2020, and 2021, when a lot of these, a lot of the last elections happened. In Canada, we had ours in 2021, something like that, and then Trudeau won for third time. Now we're hoping we can get him out of there in 2025. But that's what I want to talk about too. Like America, whether you like it or not, dominates the world culturally, right? Most of the influencers we watch, most of the movies we watch, everything we watch comes from America. Mostly. Sports, everything. And under the Biden Harris administration, you can get into all the weird policies that is just pandering to low level people, that's making issues bigger than they should be. You know, they ran against Trump, saying he's racist, saying he's a sexist. But, like, the only racist and sexist I really saw were, one, the fact that Kamala Harris has had multiple people in her team leave and claim that it was the most miserable experience they've ever had at any job. And granted, this is politics, so I'd assume it'd be a stressful job. But, like, when you really get into it, when you really get into who was on Trump's staff, and it matters on which news network and which outlet they are talking on, because as you can see, especially if you are coming in from the Democratic side, which I'll get to that in a moment, you're probably completely confused, right? But like, I think this time around, the New York lawsuit really opened a lot of people's eyes. The fact that they changed charges from misdemeanors up to felonies just to get that felony conviction on his name. Which, by the way, yeah, you can run with that. A felon beat out Kamala Harris, right? I don't really know how that benefited you. I think that just made your argument worse and makes 2028 even more difficult for you. Like, you were able to get away with Joe Biden because you were able to keep him away from the media. You used COVID. You took over his Twitter. I honestly doubt Joe Biden makes most of his tweets. I feel like everyone on both sides kind of agrees with that, though. But, like, this time around, it was like section after section, after piece, that fell apart for the Democrats. And as much of a win it is for conservatives, you can say, as much as a win it is for Donald Trump and everybody involved. This is more of a major loss to the machine, right? The the Democratic Party has been in power something like 16 of the last 20 years. Like, and you can go even further back and it's even something more absurd. But, you know, there definitely is something to say with how when one party is in, the world seems to be at conflict more. You didn't see this Israel Palestine stuff in 2016, 17, 18, 19. You didn't see this Russian Ukraine stuff in 2017, 18, 19. The only Ukraine thing we knew about was Hunter Biden's laptop, which we were told for years was Russian disinformation, but now he's in prison over that Russian disinformation that turned out to be, you know, quite real. I don't know. Like, this, and again, too, I'm gonna pull up the maps, right? If they do pull up. Here we go. So, this is on Google, right? Google has currently 292 to 224. Trump most likely is going to win Nevada, Arizona, and Alaska. I was looking at a different website that had. It didn't have like the specific vote count, but it did have up to date numbers and like, dude. I guess you could predict a red wave, but beyond the states that he's won, the states that it will win, like, you go into it deeper, right? New York, the place where Donald Trump became a convicted felon. Kamala Harris wins by 11 points. But when you go to 2020, Joe Biden won this by 23. Oh wait, what's that? Yeah. You go to Pennsylvania, Trump loses it by 1.2%. Or what did he win it by this time? 50 points. Like, okay, I don't believe everything that is said about 2020. But, it really says something. Whether you wanna obsess over that election or not. In the span of 4 years, they've made, like, they've made states that they were winning by large margins. Virginia, they won by 6. Virginia came down. Virginia was very close. I guess they did win by 6 this time, but this race was very close. Illinois too. This is a state I'm pretty sure Biden won by 17.5 points. I know it's really nerdy. I would get out of this. Okay, I don't know how to get out of that. Like, again, this guy got 71 million votes this time. That guy got 81 million votes. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Awfully weird that Joe Biden will go down in history, at least currently, as the most popular president of a lifetime. But I guess the argument is that, there was more vote against Trump at the time. I doubt it. I doubt it. There's no way that man convinced 82 million people to vote for him. But I don't know. I'm hoping, like I said, that this causes a shift away from the woke stuff. I hope that maybe we get to see into the JFK files, like Trump alluded to. Everyone, I would be curious to see what happens with RFK and the food administration he wants to open up, and the research they would find about their food, because American food, like, it's worse than Canadian food, but it's not far off from Canada. Like, Canada restricts, and I do like this, they do restrict a lot of the harmful chemicals that America lets into their foods, but there's still an issue in Canada about obesity and all that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. As far as Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party, there's no way she makes it back to a presidential run. There's no way she's another VP pick. Like, man, I really do think that she was the one they wanted to get behind originally before Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her. Which Tulsi Gabbard once again came back and kind of torched her. But, yeah, this is, I don't know. Well, obviously, I had to see how Trump's presidency or second presidency goes. But, like, this kind of shows that you're not going to get away with these cheap shots in the media. And, people are waking up to the fact that, one, there's independent media, so you don't need to really go to the mainstream media. Two, there's people who will openly tell you they're biased. Like, me, and my bias is clear. But even that, like, if you were following MSNBC, they tried calling Pennsylvania for Harris. Wicked weirdly last night. I don't know if you guys saw that, but, like, there was, like, they had 12% of the voting, and, like, one of the outlets I saw were trying to call it for Harris already. I don't know. But, we'll see. This is, in my opinion, a good sign for Canada as well. Trump still didn't compete with Biden's popular vote, though. I don't know. That might be my one question, my second question to you, I guess. One, what's your opinion on the election? What's caused the shitstorm down below? And two, how do you think the Democrats come back from this? Like, if you follow the mainstream media, only there's a lot of stuff you probably don't factor in. But I don't know. All in all, I hope Trump has a good presidency. Like I've been stating consistent way. Hopefully we can get the guy out that we've had for 10 years now. And yeah, thanks for watching. Later.